I'd like to welcome back Greg Buschman. He's a leadership coach, an author, and a professor. And today we are covering generation gaps. Greg, welcome back to River City Live. And it's pretty interesting because you have a story that really helps us to figure out why you even got into the industry to begin with. And when you talk about generation gaps, it's almost like these generations are speaking a different language. So it's really important to have a translator, if you will.
That's very true. Matter of fact, that story happened was I was in the Caribbean and I met a young leader. He was in his latter 20s and he had been very successful and gathered a following of thousands and thousands of millennials. And liquor companies and different companies were paying him to throw flash parties. And he would literally have thousands of people show up in the Washington, D.C. area at these parties. And he got to the point where corporate marketing departments were literally leasing his list of followers to promote their products. And we began to talk and he learned about my corporate experience and he got real curious. You could see that look in the eye, And he asked me, he's like, I tried corporate jobs. And he told me a couple, and he's like, but no one was interested in promoting me into leadership. And I got frustrated and I just quit each job. And as that conversation developed, it actually was a genesis of not only my interest, but also a book I've written that talks about the very thing you just mentioned. We do speak a little bit of a different language, and we have different drives, motives, and we like to be led in different ways.
Absolutely. And, when you talk about the different generations, obviously your examples with corporate America, but if you think about it, you're also a professor. So you have to figure out a way to connect with the students. And as a parent, there's several generations within my household that I have to figure out how to balance and then do the same when I go to work with all the different ages and what their backgrounds are. So it's one of the things that this is a great skill set to have, no matter who you are.
No, I totally agree. Matter of fact, in my dedication, I think some of my passion for it is because I have 3 millennial children that are in the workforce, and I have 1 Gen Z daughter who is still in college. And it's fun around our household, especially, we're in the lockdown and they're all visiting, and you just get that flavor that you can't get from just a one-dimensional or one-generational type of experience. And it's my love for them that also authored a lot of what's in the book, because I don't want them to join a workforce where leaders don't understand them and they don't understand how to relate to us. And one of the things that I noticed out there in the marketplace when I started doing a little research is that there's a ton of books on how to manage the millennial and Gen Z generations, but I couldn't find a single text that showed them what they need to know about me as a Gen Xer, or my dad who's a traditionalist, or the boomers in between. They need what they need to know about us so that we'll let them lead us.
Absolutely. Let me ask you this, and what do you recommend for people out there? How do they even start this conversation to understanding the differences?
Well, first off, each generation, it's almost like an American rite of passage, seems to have some negatives about the generation that's younger than they are. The traditionalists had issues with the boomers. The boomers had some issues with my generation, the Gen Xers. Gen Xers had some issues with the millennials. And until we begin to have a conversation about what shapes the way each generation thinks, we'll never understand it. Matter of fact, the largest chapter in the book is about the different value systems or values that each individual generation has. And what's interesting is that for the most part, we have the same values, but they're in different orders, they're different priorities, and we have those values for different reasons. And when people, we get into discussion and talk about that, I get a lot of just that aha moment where people realize, wow, I didn't realize that that's why X, Y, and Z respond to that way, or believe that way, or think that way. We're more alike than we are different. We just need to talk about it. And as you said, the verbiage is something that's very important because every generation has its own set of terms.
Well, Greg, thank you so much for all your time and information. I'll tell you, that book sounds like the perfect graduation present to all the young people entering the workforce out there right now. It's a great read, and Father's Day is right around the corner as well. And it's something that we stated in the beginning. Learning that skill set is important no matter what you're doing in life. Maybe you want to relate better to your kids or the workplace, no matter what. So I really appreciate your time, Greg. Thank you.
Thanks, Mark. I love being on. Anytime you want to talk about the generations at work, it's my passion, and has turned into my life work. So
thanks again. We appreciate it.
Bye-bye.